If your neighbor comes over and gives you a zucchini this large, or if you are growing zucchini yourself and they become this big in your garden, you have to know what to do with them. Well, a zucchini this large is a little more bitter than those beautiful, small, delicate, sweet zucchini, so you want to put it into a recipe that doesn't rely on the flavor of zucchini. What would that be? Well, zucchini bread, of course. Even though zucchini is the first word in zucchini bread, it actually doesn't rely on the flavor of zucchini, but that zucchini is going to give it a whole lot of moisture. So we're going to make zucchini bread, but not just any zucchini bread. Of course, we're going to make double chocolate zucchini bread using some dark chocolate and some German chocolate, which I'm going to tell you all about. First thing first, though, whenever you are doing any baking, you want to get your vessels ready. So we have 2 loaf pans, and we're going to grease them with butter and then dust them with sugar. I always save the butter wrappers from my butter that we're going to use in the recipe because they make perfect greasing tools. Now you might be asking yourself, why are you bothering to grease a non-stick loaf pan? But the reason is because I want to put sugar on the inside of this. It gives the crust a nice crunch to it all the way around the zucchini bread, and the butter is going to help the sugar stick. So pour a lot of sugar in there and then shake it around on all sides. I do one loaf pan first on top of the other and let all the excess sugar fall into that second loaf pan. Make sure everything's covered and then dump out any excess that you have. Do the same thing for the second pan. When you're all done, just pour off any excess. Now your loaf pans are ready. Let's grate the zucchini that we need. Now in a great big zucchini like this, you're gonna have some seeds that are even more bitter than the zucchini itself, and they're gonna be more congregated down in the bottom part of the zucchini. So we're gonna start by grating up here. And to make this a little easier, I'm gonna cut this into a chunk and go from there. We're going to be grating for a little while because we need 4 cups of grated zucchini. I would say that's about 2 cups, so we need 2 more cups out of this great big zucchini. And that should do it. We've got about 4 cups of grated zucchini here, lots of moisture. That's going to be added to our zucchini bread and make it delicious. We are going to now put everything aside, reset, and make a quick bread. When you're making a quick bread, you're going to mix your dry ingredients in a bowl, mix your wet ingredients in a bowl, and then fold them together until they're just combined. You don't want to overbeat because then you'll have a chewy zucchini bread, and nobody wants that. So here we have some flour. I'm going to add to it some baking powder, some baking soda, and some salt. I'm going to whisk this together just to distribute it. No great action needed here. Then let's combine our wet ingredients. So butter, nice and room temperature, makes it really easy. We're going to beat it just until it's whipped, then we're going to add sugar. And what we're doing here is incorporating air so that we can get some great leavening power out of this bread, in addition to the baking soda and the baking powder. So once it's nice and light, we're going to start adding the eggs one at a time. So nice and light and fluffy. Now we fold these 2 ingredients together. And then we're going to add that zucchini. Now at first, you're going to find that batter is going to be a little bit thicker than you anticipate, but it's that zucchini that's going to add all the moisture and make this a moist cake even when it's finished baking. So when almost all the streaks of white are disappeared, add that moist zucchini along with any liquid that might have accumulated in the bowl. And stir that in. So the green that you see of the zucchini here is just going to be a tiny fleck of green when you're finished. So much so that nobody under the age of 10 will ever notice. Now we're going to add our 2 different chocolates. Now one of them is German chocolate. So this is indeed a German chocolate zucchini bread. But you might think that German chocolate comes from Germany. That's not actually the case. It was chocolate developed for the Baker's Company. That's a baking chocolate made by Samuel German. So it should be really called German's chocolate cake. It's a milk chocolate with sugar already added, intended to be used in baking, made easier so that you don't have to add as much sugar. This is going to distribute throughout the entire batter. And then of course, because this is double chocolate zucchini bread, we're going to add some great big chocolate chips. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is a zucchini bread that anybody can get behind, that's for sure. It smells fantastic. Once we've folded everything together, we're going to transfer it to our loaf pans and sprinkle it with a final touch of something and get it into the oven. So now we're going to transfer them into the pans that have already been sugared and buttered. Half, obviously, in each pan, roughly. So wipe off that pan if you've spilt it at all. And now we're going to put that final touch on, which is turbinado sugar, which is sort of a light brown granular sugar that you can find in the baking section of your supermarket. This gives a delicious crunch and a lot of texture to the top of the bread. Completely optional. You don't have to use it if you don't find it. Now we're going to transfer this to a 350-degree oven for 55 minutes. Then take them out, let them cool on a cooling rack for 15 minutes before you unmold them. So now comes your favorite moment of this recipe, and that is indeed slicing into it. So beautiful, dense, heavy loaves here. Let's see what we made. Beautiful, delicious zucchini bread. So pretty inside, check that out. And of course, because we've got the butter, the sugar, the chocolate in here, there's no need for more butter to spread on top or any whipped cream or anything like that. That is gorgeous. This is a decadent way to use zucchini. And you know, it's not every day you get to splurge using zucchini.